Hi there and welcome on this blustery October evening. This video outlines details and procedures for agents and advisors acting on behalf of PAYE taxpayers. It also gives details of certain issues with the process that many PAYE workers feel unhappy with. It gives the background to debates which have contributed to Revenue's recent decision to amend the process whereby tax agents will no longer be able to change PAYE workers' bank details on Revenue MyAccount and replace them with their own tax agency details. Tax agents and advisors are advised by Revenue to ensure that any advertising they issue or statements on their website or correspondence do not misleadingly convey to the public an endorsement, approval from and or an association or link with the Revenue. And this may include, for example, the use of the Revenue logo or images, icons associated with the Government of Ireland alongside descriptions such as approved tax agent or registered tax agent. Before I go into this, allow me to introduce myself. This is Pádraig here from Payroll Matters in Ireland, the YouTube channel, Facebook group and social media platform for all PAYE workers and their employers to ask and get answers and find out about pay, PAYE, income tax, returns, public holiday entitlements, universal social charge, pay-related social insurance, pensions, redundancy, week one basis, statements of liability, tax credits, employee and employer statutory rights and obligations, and a myriad of other work and payroll-related issues, all free of charge. PAYE workers using a tax agent or a tax service. Revenue does not operate any system for approving tax agents or advisors. PAYE workers may choose to use an agent or tax preparation service to assist in making a claim or filing a return. If you choose to do so either through social media or other means, the following should be noted. Your authorised agent or tax service can access your Revenue online services ROS account using their own digital certificate and ROS password. You must not give details of your own personal MyAccount or ROS login password to an agent or unrelated third parties. How to tell Revenue that you have an agent? Complete authorization form PAYE A1 or authorization form PAYE A2. For the moment, the form PAYE A2 authorizes your agent to directly receive tax refunds on your behalf. We will be advising you of changes coming in 2025 relating to this a little later in this video. This form is submitted to Revenue using one of the following ways. Through your agent, through Revenue's secure online services My Inquiries, by post to your Revenue local office. What it means to have an agent. Where you have an agent acting on your behalf, he or she will have access to your Revenue record, submit claims on your behalf, receive correspondence in relation to any claims submitted, be authorised to receive refunds on your behalf where you have completed authorisation form PAYE A2. Your agent will deduct their fee and pay the balance of the amount due to you. See an update on this later on in the video. Updates to the A2 process. Following a review of the A2 process, Revenue have decided that this facility is being withdrawn for any new clients who sign up to an agent with effect from the 1st of January 2025 and from existing clients before the 31st of December 2025. The current procedures outlined here in this video continue to be in effect until the 31st of December 2024. An updated Tax Duty Manual, TDM, will be issued at that time. The current process up to the end of 2024 for linking an agent to a PAYE client is different to that which applies to other taxes. There are two separate forms, authorization form PAYE A1 and authorization form PAYE A2. The key difference between the two forms is that the signed PAYE A2 authorizes the agent to directly receive tax refunds on behalf of their PAYE clients only. If an agent is operating the PAYE A2 process, the agent must use the Revenue Authorization Form PAYE A2 only The revenue form includes the relevant terms and conditions which may be updated over time. An agent cannot use an owned version of the form to make the client link. The link must include the standard terms and conditions, including that the taxpayer remains ultimately responsible for all claims, declarations or returns submitted on his or her behalf. The agent must have full contact details, including a verified email address for the client. The agent must agree a payment method with their client at the registration stage and have the necessary details to pass on the refund to their client without any delays. For example, verified bank details for EFT or verified postal address for check. The agent must clearly advise the client in the terms and conditions that the PAYE refund is being paid to the agent's bank account. The fees and charges must be clearly stated upfront to the client. And following registration of a new client, the agent must send a copy of the signed agent link form to the new client through their verified email address or a hard copy to their verified postal address. Any agent operating the A2 process must 1. Have one bank account into which any client refunds are paid, and 2. Notify revenue of that bank account detail, name, BIC and IBAN, and provide updated details if that bank account detail changes. The agent must ensure that the client's email is as provided by the client on the PAYE A1 or A2 mandate. Under no circumstances should either an agent's email address or a fictitious email address be entered on these forms. PAYE client links cannot be backdated. A signed form PAYE A1 or form PAYE A2 authorises the linked agent to act for that client only, even in joint assessed cases. If an agent is seeking to represent both spouses, signed form PAYE A1 and PAYE A2 are required for both spouses. In joint assessed cases, an agent cannot act for just one of the spouses. The agent must have a signed A2 form from both spouses in order to act for the joint assessed couple. The client authorization provided by a signed form PAYE A1 or A2 remains in force for a maximum period of 4 years, unless revenue is formally notified of its cessation by the client or agent earlier than that. The submission of an updated authorization form after 4 years will renew the authorization. Where a link has been ceased, under no circumstances should it be re-established without a newly signed form PAYE A2. Agent advisor submission of returns and or claims on client's behalf. Agents and advisors submitting returns and claims on behalf of clients must ensure that they retain a record of the contract from the client in which he or she explicitly gives his or her permission for the submission of that return and or claim. The client link confirmation includes a declaration by the taxpayer that he or she is aware of his or her responsibility to maintain appropriate and adequate books and records and to produce such documentation when requested by revenue. Ideally, agents advisors should ensure that they have or have seen the verified supporting documentation before submitting any claim or return. The client link authorization PAYE cases includes the declaration by the client that he or she is aware that civil penalties and criminal sanctions can be applied for the failure to make a return, the making of a false return, or the facilitation of the making of a false return, or claiming tax credits, allowances, or reliefs which are not due. The client is declaring that he or she will provide details of all sources of income and the necessary documentation to support any refund, credit claims, or claims for allowances and reliefs made to revenue on his or her behalf. The necessary documentation is to be retained by the taxpayer and or agent for a period of 6 years and is required to be produced to revenue on request. The use of electronic signatures. Agents using electronic signatures for client links approvals must ensure that potential clients are clearly advised about the terms and conditions involved in signing up as a client. Potential clients must be made aware that an agent has access to their revenue records, can submit claims on their behalf and can receive correspondence in relation to any claims submitted, and may, where the form PAYE 2, see the 2025 impending changes on this, has been submitted, be authorised to receive refunds and deduct their fee from the refund claimed. An electronic signature is acceptable once it conforms to the provisions of the Electronic Commerce Act 2000. It is acceptable only if it is created by using a secure signature creation device or technology based on a qualified certificate that has been provided by an accredited certification service provider. The electronic signature created must be uniquely linked to the signatory. A mousepad, keypad or stylus signature does not qualify as a digital signature. Capable of identifying the signatory. An IP address and date stamp do not meet this requirement. Created using means that are capable of being maintained by the signatory under his or her sole control, and linked to the data to which it relates in such a manner that any subsequent changes of the data is detectable. As with written signatures, in all instances where an electronic signature is used, agents should satisfy themselves that the signature is that of the actual client. The digital signature must be capable of being regarded and used as the legal equivalent of a written signature. Removing an agent and updating bank account details. If you do not wish to have an agent act on your behalf, you must remove him or her from your revenue record. See our video here on how to do this. If you do not do this, he or she will continue to receive correspondence and have access to your records. If you want to remove an agent, you must make a request. Head through My Inquiries in My Account, make a request in writing to your local revenue office. Where you have previously authorised an agent to receive refunds on your behalf, you must update the bank account details saved in your profile in My Account. If you do not do this, any future refunds will continue to be paid into your agent's bank account. Your responsibilities. You remain responsible under tax law for any claims, declaration or returns made on your behalf. The authorised forms A1 and A2 advise that any incorrect claims or returns may be subject to penalty or sanction. The necessary documentation to support any refund or claim for credit, allowances or relief is provided to the agent you appoint. Details of all sources of income must be provided to the agent you appoint. We have had many and varied questions about tax agencies on our group over the past number of years. The Facebook page and Facebook group we manage are called Payroll Matters in Ireland, and new members, followers and subscribers to our channel or Payroll Matters are always welcome. During 2025, Revenue will be disabling tax agents from amending PAYE workers' bank account details on Revenue. Tax agents, tax back or tax rebate companies will no longer be able to get their hands on your tax refund before you do. For the A2 process, which allowed PAYE taxpayers to authorise refunds or repayments of PAYE Universal Social Charge to be paid into their agent's bank account, the following changes will be made. New clients. This facility will be withdrawn for any new clients who sign up with an agent from January the 1st, 2025. Existing clients. The facility will also be withdrawn from existing clients before the 31st of December 2025. Tax agents can still operate to assist PAYE workers complete their income tax returns. The only difference is that those tax agents will no longer be able to receive the PAYE workers' tax refunds into their bank accounts, subtract their fees and then pay the balance to the PAYE worker. They can operate the same as any other business and charge for their service. So all those agents who employ staff can still operate and charge you fees. The issue we always had on Payroll Matters in Ireland was that PAYE workers in many cases, as advised to us on our group, did not fully understand exactly what they were signing up to by responding to some of the flashy, heavily sponsored social media campaign advertisements about tax back rebates and tax refunds. Engaging a tax agent, tax back, tax rebate or tax refund company to complete your income tax return. In Dáil Éireann, Thursday the 22nd of February 2024, Deputy John McGuinness asked the Minister for Finance if he would explain why the Revenue Commissioners issued tax rebates directly to a tax agent company in the names of individuals who clearly had not asked the company to act on their behalf. If the claims aired publicly will be investigated, the number of individuals affected and value of the rebates issued, and if he will make a statement on the matter. The Minister for Finance, Michael McGrath, replied, "While the majority of PAYE taxpayers who file tax returns now do so themselves, a taxpayer may engage an agent to act on their behalf. This is a commercial and professional engagement between the taxpayer and the agent. It does not remove the responsibility on the taxpayer to ensure that any claim made on their behalf is correct." Revenue's website contains guidance for taxpayers on what it means when they appoint an agent to deal with their tax affairs. This guidance is available at the following link. As we mentioned, the guidance has been updated, so be sure you have the updated revenue position, which is included here in this video. The Minister stated that the agent authorisation process is required by Revenue to be comprehensive and include the following steps. When an individual taxpayer signs with an agent, they provide that agent with personal information including their PPS number, date of birth and signature. The appointed agent then uses this information to complete the relevant authorisation form and sends copies to both Revenue and the taxpayer concerned. Form PAYE 1 authorises an agent to act on a taxpayer's behalf, while Form PAYE 2 authorises an agent to receive tax refunds directly on a taxpayer's behalf. Please note that this A2 process is the one that is being amended in 2025. The Minister continued to point out, on receipt of this form, Revenue will issue written correspondence to the taxpayer at the address on their revenue record, informing them that Revenue have been advised by the named agent that they are now acting on the taxpayer's behalf. Where a form PAYE 2 has been submitted to Revenue, a second letter is issued to the same address advising the taxpayer that the bank details on their revenue record have been updated. Again, please note that this A2 process is the one that is being amended in 2025. The Minister continued to point out, the correspondence issued to the taxpayer by Revenue advises the taxpayer to contact Revenue immediately if there are any issues with the changes made. Where a refund is claimed online, Revenue will transfer the refund directly to the bank account details on the individual's revenue record. From 2026, in all cases, this can only be amended by the taxpayer and the agent will not be able to amend it. Up until the 31st of December 2024, the Minister continued, where a form PAYE 2 has been submitted and the taxpayer has not contacted Revenue to advise that the updated bank account details are incorrect, the refund will issue to the taxpayer's appointed agent in line with the taxpayer's authorisation. In some cases, the agent may deduct their fee from the refund before paying the balance of the amount to their client. Revenue allocates a tax agent identification number ATAIN as part of an administrative process by which a tax agent or transaction advisor can be identified as an intermediary that acts on behalf of those taxpayers who have opted to appoint that particular agent or advisor to deal with their tax affairs on their behalf. Revenue engages with all customers who contact it with a complaint regarding an agent. Complaints are fully investigated by Revenue, and taxpayers with any concerns about their interactions with a tax agent or advisor can always contact Revenue through My Inquiries. Revenue operates an agent compliance program which involves investigating customer complaints with agents, thereby providing assurance that agents are adhering to the process outlined in the Tax and Duty Manual, TDM, and if there is any deviation, agreeing remedial actions to address this. In that regard, Revenue carried out 14 site visits to PAYE agents in the period of 1st of September 2022 to the 31st of December 2023. Revenue regularly reviews its processes for agents, and any matters raised are considered as part of its agent compliance strategy. It is worth noting that Revenue has in the past year launched an extensive information campaign to raise awareness among PAYE taxpayers about Revenue's quick, easy and free-to-use MyAccount service, which taxpayers use to finalise their tax position. We at Payroll Matters in Ireland have not been behind the door in pushing the Revenue agenda. As at the 22nd of February 2024, PAYE Payers have filed more than 750,000 PAYE income tax returns for 2023, of which over 500,000 were eligible for and received refunds amounting to 383 million in respect of the 2023 tax year. Of these returns, approximately 85% were filed by the taxpayer directly. So, our advice at Payroll Matters in Ireland to PAYE workers is to check your bank account details, and if you no longer wish to have an agent acting on your behalf, then see our video here on how to delete the tax agent on Revenue MyAccount. Yippee! Also, for our Facebook page group and this channel at Payroll Matters, for encouraging, assisting and providing step-by-step guides for our members to complete their own tax returns and keep 100% of any tax refunds due for themselves. This is the Revenue Notice about the change. Revenue e-brief number 256/24, 14th of October 2024. Revised 8.2 process. Part 37/00/04B. Guidelines for agents or advisors acting on behalf of taxpayers. Part 37/00/04B has been updated. After reviewing the A2 process, which allowed PAYE taxpayers to authorise refunds or repayments of PAYE Universal Social Charge to be paid into their agent's bank account, the following changes will be made. New clients. This facility will be withdrawn for any new clients who sign up with an agent starting from the 1st of January 2025. Existing clients. This facility will also be withdrawn for existing clients before the 31st of December 2025. Revenue recognises the valuable contribution agents make to helping their clients voluntarily comply with their tax and duty obligations. It is accepted that there will be a need for engagement with agents on this change. Revenue will be establishing a working group with agents representatives to manage the change. Invitations to join the group will be issued through the Tax Administration Liaison Committee, TALC. The function of the TALC is to review and make recommendations to achieve more effective and efficient administration of direct taxes, income tax, capital gains tax, corporation tax, capital acquisition tax, stamp duty, value-added tax. It is understood that not all agents affected by this change will be members of bodies represented at TALC. So if they wish to participate in the group, they should contact Patrick O'Connor, Principal Officer, Personnel Division, Compliance Branch, through My Inquiries before the 31st of October 2024. Published on 14th of October 2024 from Revenue. Before I leave you for now, can I ask you to hit that subscribe button and also to turn on YouTube notifications for this channel so you can get an alert every time we post a new video guide, as we have many more helpful pay, income tax and other work related guides and videos to bring you. Go on, hit that subscribe button. Go on. See you next time.